BalconyTV.
Hi, welcome to BalconyTV Delhi. Today we're with one of the world's most exciting female guitar players, Australian Aurora Jane. Hi Jane.
Hey, how you doing?
How are you doing?
Yeah, really good.
What are you playing for us today?
I'm going to play a track called Rise.
Rise. Nice. Take it away.
Born out to stolen country, I just don't feel at home in my skin. I want to shed this soiled coat and discover another place to begin. Where freedom's not a privilege, but race, place and time, where we hear each other's stories before condemning souls for petty crimes. I'm prizing my eyes open inside this dream. We must rise, rise, we must mobilize and speak the truth of what we believe in. Rise, rise, and be sure it's the truth that we're speaking. I'm indebted to this country that's cradled me despite my origin. To respect the sacred places, we must acknowledge where the story did begin. Listening is the answer, respect is the key. Working consciously together to reconstruct our fabled history. I'm prizing my eyes open inside this dream. We must rise, rise, we must mobilize and speak the truth of what we believe in. Rise, rise, and be sure it's the truth that we're speaking. Sad and certain for the citizens of our country, when a government of immigrants won't acknowledge our true history. So brace yourself for change. That story's just begun. Brace yourself for change. Brace yourself for change. That story's just begun. Brace yourself for change. It's not the real one. Brace yourself for change. This country's founded on lies to hide genocide. Yeah, we must rise, rise. We must mobilize, speak the truth of what we believe in. Rise, rise, and be sure it's the truth that we're speaking. We must rise, rise. We must mobilize and speak the truth of what we believe in. Rise, rise, and be sure it's the truth that we're speaking.
That was great.
Thanks so much.
So tell us a bit about the song.
It was written a few years ago now in Australia, actually. I've been working out on Indigenous communities in Central Australia for an organisation called Music Outback Foundation.
Right.
And music's such a beautiful gift, you know, wherever it exists in the world, and it's come to mean so much more, that song, since then. Playing it, travelling throughout the northeast, everyone really connected with it as well, and it's a lot about getting world governments to stand up for the rights of First Nations people.
How do you think of it? How did it come to you? When and where?
I was sitting in my room after working with the kids for the day, out in the red desert of Australia where it's 45 degrees, one of the only places that gets about as hot as Delhi is, and I've been wanting to write a poignant song about my experience there, because growing up in Australia, if you grow up on the East Coast, you don't necessarily know what's going on. You know, our school systems don't really have very good education systems in place, or at the time of me going through school, they didn't. Things are luckily changing a little bit. But in terms of our true history, there's a very colonial history, which is, you know, only this micro speck of the story. Like, Aboriginal history goes back this far, and white man is this dot here, and everyone's kind of obsessed with this part of Australian history. So when I wrote the song, I was reflecting on the fact that I had no idea what my country was really like till I was about 21. I had some connections with it from seeking it out and friends that I had, but had the great gift of spending the last 8 or 9 years spending a lot of time in touch with that culture, and it's been really life-changing.
Yeah. Jane, and everyone already knows about you and your music. I want to talk about what you think about the Indian indie music scene, because you came, the first time you came here was in 2004.
Yep.
And you're here again, and you've been here throughout. So how have you seen it grown? What do you think about the future, where it's going right now?
I think it's in a really exciting phase. Like, when I first started coming here, there wasn't really a lot going on, but that made it super exciting for us to sort of be there at the beginning of something. It was thriving, and everyone was coming out to check out music, because I hadn't seen the styles of music that we were playing much before. This was in 2004. I went to Ladakh and played at the World Music Festival there, and then 2006 and 2007 was at Roots Festival up in the northeast, but still playing in Delhi and Bombay through those times. In the early days, I was saying there was like Hayes and Cafe Morris and Turquoise Cottage, just a few venues, and now I know that there's like 15 or 20 in Delhi alone, and so many bands. You know, one of the major changes has been the diversity of the music and the quality of the music that I've come into contact with. Like, in the early days, I do luckily have a little bit of a thing for metal from my teenage years. I was in a few fairly heavy bands, so I didn't mind too much, but playing material like that song I just played in the early days, sometimes we'd have like hardcore bands opening for us, and then we'd sort of play our stuff afterwards, and you'd be like, oh, you know, interesting in terms of trying to blend and connect with artists, you know, that sound similar, and working towards that. I was just at the India Music Week conference, and a lot of the discussion came to the idea of themed concerts and putting on evenings where there's connectivity between different genres and the different scenes and what people are into. And I think that sort of 7 or 8 years ago that wouldn't have been possible because the content wasn't there yet, and now it's beginning to be here. There's a lot of bands, there can be a lot more bands, there's space for it, there's the venues, there's the scene, it's all ready to go. It's just about everyone sort of learning what everyone else is doing now and consolidating what's going on, because where there was once this tiny little scene, now it's suddenly gone, whoa, and everyone's sort of working out where their place within that is now. That's my perception of it anyway, and I'm just visiting after a couple of years, so
that's great. I mean, it's great to hear that. It's great to have you here. And when are you coming down next to India? When can we get to see you again?
Well, I didn't come for a couple of years, but I have to say, after coming and seeing everyone and seeing what's going on in the scene and how exciting it is, that I'd like to come sometime in 2013. I've got a few ideas and projects brewing. There's some musicians I'd like to collaborate with here, so if I'm lucky, maybe I can come back and do some recording and some touring.
Excellent. We look forward to that. Thanks again for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
BalconyTV.